Out what you want to. Whoa. Alright, well, the wind is a lot more than what we initially forecast.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm 22 years old, and for the past 8 years, I've been living on the road and off the grid with my family, documenting our journey on our YouTube, The Epic Family Road Trip. Today, I'm sharing my adventures on my own channel, The Adventure Guys. My dream is to show you the remote places of the world by land, air, and sea, and to one day buy some land and build a homestead.
So I turn on the power now that these are connected. Yellow is ground, red is power, and then green is power, black is ground. When I connect them here, just touch them for a moment, my steaming light turns on. That's a steaming light. And then when I connect the other wires, this one will be harder to see. It's at the top of the mast, the light turns on up there. So I'm gonna connect these with some butt splices, butt connectors, these guys. I'll just put it on the ground, on the power that goes through the top deck of the boat, and then put both grounds into the other side and then crimp it tight. And that should keep them powered. Cover it with electrical tape to protect it. And that's that. There's my steaming light. It's the one straight ahead there. Middle of the mast roughly, or lower third of the mast. Then you can see the faint light up there. Got my mast light on. And I see my nav lights are on. I'll go show you them. And there is the nav light. So that now means I'm ready to actually sail and camp out there. Well, pretty much ready. I really look forward to getting on my boat. This looks super cool. Like, I just want to actually show you. I mean, it's beautiful here. Killarney is such a cool little town. That's the Sportsman Inn. It's an awesome place. You can hear a ton of people having fun there right now. And then this is the marina. But just getting onto my boat. Look how beautiful it is with the moon. And cabin lights are working. I'm gonna get inside and shut off my steaming lights and nav lights. Now that I know they're going, and get a screen on the door because there's the odd bug out. So under here, it's seen an old screen. It's weighted down pretty heavy, so I do believe the intention of this screen is for this door. I'm gonna lay it out over top. That's pretty good. Actually, I'm gonna take my cooler in. This has dinner. Some drinks. Alright, so moved inside because now it's just a moonlit night out and everything's quieted down. It's pretty cool because obviously this being my first night, I've never experienced any of this before. So having shore power gives me the advantage of having total power without worrying about running out. So I've got actually a big fan in here. Got it plugged into these two. There's 4 AC plugins here. And as you can see, the power is completely full and it'll stay full. That's the beauty of shore power, but really, realistically, like if I'm out camping, there's no way that my one, it's like a little 12-volt battery, deep cycle boat battery is what, it's pretty much what you'd see in any boat. It would not run a fan, the lights, the nav lights. I have an auto helm, and some of my other instruments for long at all. It would probably die very, very quick. It does charge from stator, from the motor, I believe. That's something I'll look into, but I know it has a little solar panel. It's like a little 35 watt or 20 watt, maybe a 50 watt panel that connects to it. So I've had that out every day, but then it's also connected to shore power here.
So that'll do something for instrument panels and stuff. That's mostly what I'll leave that battery for. I'm looking at a new battery system, power system for this boat. It'll most likely be a bunch of lithium batteries, and will definitely improve the whole living situation in here. I'll look to get some solar panels. It'll probably involve building a custom rack off the back, just using the same like stainless steel tubing that is on like the safety railing on the side of the boats, maybe something a little stronger, and make it where I can hopefully get at least a 400, I can hopefully get a 400 watt panel, just make it a really big thing off the back, super rigid, as strong as I can make it, and then try to get some of the, like there's a lot of flexible solar panels that can attach to the roof of a sailboat and are pretty indestructible. Like you can step on them and stuff and they're not going to break. They're really scratch resistant. They're not quite as efficient as like say the solar panels we have up at our cottage or the ones that'll be off the back of the boat, but they definitely bring in some more power and you can stick them anywhere, like I said, and not have to have like nice hard mounted ones that are would take up all my deck space, because that's pretty limited here on a 25-foot boat. But yeah, so with all the cabin lights and everything, this is really quite a cool experience, just being a lit up little sailboat. Even in the bay here, you know, if I move from side to side, the boat starts rocking, and it's a pretty much the same experience as being anchored out somewhere. So it's really giving me a cool vision of what the future's going to be like, just having the added adventure of having sailed to where I'm going, dropping anchor and knowing you're, you know, out in the middle of Georgian Bay or on Lake Huron or one day in the middle of the ocean is really something that'll make it even more special. Probably covers, new covers for these cushions will be in order later. Not particularly bad, they're just a little scratchy like an old wool blanket, so not the most comfortable. This is like a big double sleeping bag blanket sort of thing. By Nanga. It's really lightweight, super warm and nice, very, very comfortable sleeping bag. So it stretches pretty much the entire width of this V-berth up here. It does actually. It almost goes from corner to corner across the whole bed back here. So I'm gonna have tons of leg room. Well, I was able to eat. I had that tuna salad, and I'm gonna hit the hay so I can be up in decent time tomorrow morning. Hopefully go out for a good day sail tomorrow, maybe with Dan again. We'll probably go further afield. It just depends on the wind. It looked like 10 to 15 knots with the potential of rain, so I wouldn't want to take us out into what could develop into some sort of thunderstorm or something, but staying within 10 or 11 nautical miles of Killarney here should be safe enough and give us a good time out in the water. We'll see how this goes tomorrow. This has been awesome first night. I'm really enjoying it. This bed's really big. It was fun and I'm super comfortable. I've got a fan running and pretty much everything I could want, so yeah, I'm gonna get to bed, get everything shut off. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Welcome back on the boat. After spending my first night out here, I came back out, and this time with Dan, and we're gonna make our way out into Georgian Bay to an island that has an anchorage. It's got like a little bit of a inlet within the island itself. A 4-meter pool. It's fairly well protected and looks like a good place to camp for the night for our first time dropping the anchor and spending some time out on Georgian Bay. So yeah, we're heading out. It's about 6 o'clock, 6:30, and it's an 8.9 nautical mile journey. It's not like massive or anything, but pretty big for us on our first time out, so should be a lot of fun. I've got a few other things prepped that I didn't have before. Got a boom vang on this time, which will be helpful, and then got the anchor functional. I've also got my autopilot out, so it's a Ray Marine autopilot, which is something we'll test when we're out there. I'm gonna die of starvation. The wind is 231 degrees. It's coming in from 231 degrees, and the windy app shows 8 to 9 knots about the area we're going to be out in the bay. So not too much for me as a beginner, probably just right. And that wind is pretty good, because I'll be sailing into it. I can pretty much just run diagonally to the wind, and I may not even have to tack to get to AWEIGH Island. So yeah, make our way out of Killarney here, get into the bay and start sailing. Well, this it's pretty exciting. We actually have a destination in mind and be heading somewhere to stay overnight. It's quite a good feeling, actually. So we talked to some guys that were just pulling in. They had just gone out for a light sail and said it was good winds, and they've been to the place that Dan and I will be staying tonight, and they both recommended it. They both said it would be great. So it's a bit of a navigation to get into. There's some narrow spots and a path to follow so you don't end up on a rocky shoal, but once you're in there, you won't feel an ounce of wind. We'll have good clay bottom to anchor to, and it's 12 feet, 15 feet deep. Is more than enough. I've got a 4-foot draft, so I can make it in a lot of places, and that'll be deep for this boat. So I am super excited to get there, but the sailing is what I'm really looking forward to. I can't wait to see the wind. 8 knots isn't too much, so who knows, but it might be enough to actually enjoy myself and test out the autopilot safely and not be kind of stressing over how much wind is going.
I greased it. It helps a lot, eh? Here, it's this thing again. Now pull. Next, do that one. Go over there. This blue one? Yeah, this one. We'll do this in tandem, okay? And I might have to do it, and you might have to run up and... Okay, so pull. There you go, it's almost there. There you go. That's good. Well, we're making our way there. Both sails are up. We're going south. Looks like 160 degrees south. The wind's almost broad reach. I can probably fall into it a bit more. And then we've got this gigantic Viking cruise boat, like cruise ship behind us. He went right into Killarney Bay, or right into Killarney by the lighthouse, and then is flipping around slowly, and he'll be heading back. We're making some decent speed. I think I can actually see it now with Navionics. 7.5 nautical miles an hour. It's not bad. It's according to Navionics, of course. Heeled over. I actually see my friends Thomas and Willem. They're out on those J22s that I went out for the first time here on Georgian Bay with. Probably taking some people out racing. It's a good day. The wind's nice, but not too crazy. So yeah, we'll probably follow this course for about an hour, and then swing around the island and make anchorage. Now, honestly, even though I'm loving this sailing, even right now, this is a lot of fun. We are cruising. It's even more exciting to be making our first camp, essentially, on a boat. All right, well, the wind is a lot more than what we initially forecasted. It's probably 15 or 20 knots, and we're getting some crazy good sailing, but man, is it ever tough. Like, to begin with, this not being used to heeling over how we are, like even now, having the waves splashing over your front deck and just craziness, you know, like right now I'm a little scatterbrained just trying to talk and sail, but like I'm watching waves splash up onto the jib and it's cool, it's good. What's funny is we're heading right in the direction we want to. I don't have to tack at all. I'm pretty much going straight towards AWEIGH Island, and that's where we're camping for the night, and we're about a third of the way there right now, and it's just rough. I don't know how you guys who sail across the Pacific or Atlantic in 25 footers or even smaller ones, I think someone's across the Atlantic in like a 14 footer. That would be insanity, because these waves are, I mean, these are getting decent. Like that one was big, and it's got to be 4 feet or so, but compared to 20-foot rollers or 40-foot rollers, I don't even know how you do that. So wind is coming in straight from, I don't know what that is, north, southwest? Yeah, it's southwest winds. Big wave. I'm gonna slow up and hit it. There we go. But yeah, I mean, you can't call this bad, and there's that old saying, it's kind of cheesy to say, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor, but my goodness, this is a trial by fire to our first anchorage, and I'm glad I have Dan here, because this would be something else on my own. But he's running around, like, look at that. All right, well, we're probably just over halfway right now to AWEIGH Island, and got some serious wind. It's actually white capping out here on Georgian Bay. Big waves, they look like they're 4 foot, like this one's gonna splash over the deck. Yeah, with the wind like this, it's a little disconcerting, just because it was saying it was gonna be a lot milder. So I'm worried, since tomorrow said it was going to be a lot more than today, that it'll actually be pretty crazy. And Dan's got to leave tomorrow to Toronto to pick up some logs for his cabin. So it wouldn't be the best time to have to anchor out, but you know, if worse comes to worse, of course we'll just camp out on the island. It's better to be safe than sorry, but it's legit once you get out into some open water. We're at 100 feet deep. Wavy, windy, pretty amazing. It's a mini oceans. When I look out to the sun there, like, there's very little that changes this from being the ocean. Just the size once you keep going out, but you can go for hundreds of nautical miles out before you can find land if you go straight. It's hundreds of meters deep in this lake. It's really a special thing to have right out your back door, essentially.
Getting air off these things.
The autopilot's not turning on right now, which is whatever. I like sailing it right now, as I learned. But it's not nice because that means there's something up with electrical. We'll figure it out. Might just be a breaker somewhere that is tripped or whatever. Quite crazy sailing.
I know. You should try being in there grabbing something like
What was that?
a lamp.
What?
Lamp.
Oh. Look at those waves, man.
I know,
Ooh.
massive.
Should stand up on the prow.
Yeah, I get whacked there.
The good thing is, legitimately, motored out, got past that big boat because I just wanted to get out of his way because he was turning around. And I haven't turned since. I've been going straight. I've turned to go into the wind, like go in irons to slow down sometimes. And as we try to calm
those waves.
down. Yeah, these waves are no joke. Like I was trying to say there is we haven't tacked once. I have not gone across wind. It is coming directly from the southwest. We are heading southeast. So yeah, my wind indicator is showing directly this way, over my right shoulder, basically, straight out to Manitoulin Island. This is the perfect wind to head straight to my objective, but boy, it's stirring up Georgian Bay because it's open out there. Once you get off the nose of Manitoulin, you're getting into some serious water, 100 meters deep in spots, and right now we're 83 feet of fresh water. It's pretty legit. Freshwater sailing is no joke, and we're right in the thick of it right now. And this is smashing around, like we're getting water, like we just both got wet. That's crazy. Close the top hatch, I'll hold the king phone.
What do you figure, about an hour before you get to your mooring?
With this wind, probably 30 minutes. So far everything's great still, but our one problem is the sun. It's kind of blown out behind me, but it's pretty low.
getting darker, and we're probably 2 miles out from the other side of the island, which is where we'll approach to enter. And I don't really want to do that in the dark, as it's surrounded by rocks. Now, most of these rocks lie at a depth of 9 meters, which is more than deep enough for my boat. In fact, it's like 5 times as deep as what I need for my draft. But it just would be kind of uncomfortable with no real lights or anything to be poking and prodding our way into an island and then making an anchorage. So I'm gonna try to make as best time as we can, even though it's bumpy. We're not getting broadsided by these waves, but just about, to keep a straight line in on the island. Just make some good time, use the wind while we have it, and get to our anchorage before dark. So it's 8:30 now. That is sunset. As you can see, it's getting quite dark. We had intended to leave 45 minutes earlier than we did from the island. It took us a little longer to actually get moving, and we're paying for it in light. And that wouldn't be a big concern if it weren't for how many rocks and shoals there were around here. If we were just sailing out to the open blue ocean, you can just keep going in the dark. But trying to find an anchorage, I treat it, at least mentally, kind of the same as riding a motorcycle. Just don't ride in the dark. Even if you have nice bright lights, it's better not to ride in the dark. Save it for the next day. And I'm kind of feeling the same, about sailing at night. We're doing good though. Just trying to stay safe. Skirting the edge of this island. It's actually nice to be so close to land. We're getting blocked by, the island is blocking us from the massive waves that we had before. Still a couple little rockers around, probably 2 foot. But yeah. Overall, I'm loving this day of sailing. Me and Dan are having a bit of a rough time getting our sea legs because it's pretty serious. And Dan especially, because he's running around doing everything. I'm just piloting. But we'll get him eventually. We'll slowly make our way into our anchorage and safely make a nice meal a little later than expected. That's if everything goes well, so cross your fingers. We got to swing around this shallow section. We're skirting the edge of it. I'm looking at my depth sounder and staying to this because I don't know how exactly accurate it is. But I'm showing 45 feet of depth, skirting the edge of what looks like 1 meter. And then 6.2 knots is our current speed. So we're still holding beautifully in the wind here. Heeling over 6.4. That is the hull speed of the boat actually. And doing awesome. So it's nice that we have this wind. Even though it gave us some trouble on the open water, all those waves, and it was more than I was expecting, it was actually a blessing in disguise because it got us here fast. We didn't tack once, which isn't like, I'm making it sound like tacking some major problem, but in sailing, if you can sail straight forward, you're pretty much on a motorboat, but from with the wind, because when you've got a motor on your boat, you just point at what you want to, whoa, 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 whoa. So that's some heavy wind. Let me loosen this up. Get a lot of rises, I believe they're called. It's just like a heavy, heavy gust of wind, and that, like I said, we're already going the whole speed of the boat, so to have something like that just crank you over even more is a bit unnerving. It's not like tacking is any sort of problem, but when you're in a motorboat, you see your destination, or you have a destination in mind, you shoot straight for it if you can. Your motor will push you. With sailing, often you're doing a zigzag because of the wind. So the straighter you can get into the wind, the higher into the wind you can point yourself, the better, because you're getting yourself straighter in the direction you want to go. And of all things, the wind was taking us where I could point straight towards this island. And even now, going around where we are, it's the fastest way I can go before dark is the way we have to go. So the wind's actually increasing, and we're probably gonna have to actually drop. No, we'll tack. This will be our first tack. We gotta tack a little bit to point towards the island. And then once we're a little closer, we'll point into irons and drop the sails. Yeah, on another dangerous jump. See how the white line is off of its thing?
That was so hard last time.
Try it this time.
I've got motor, so just come hold these. Hang on to those. Still want to be with Shackleton ever?
On a little boat.
Well, they're in smaller ones than this, right?
Oh, yeah, well.
Fill 'em up.
Watch your fish.
You got tiller in? We've got our steaming lights on now. As you can hear, we're on motor power. We had some pretty crazy trouble getting my furler to furl. It started swinging us all around in the wind. It was pretty rough. And then when we went to furl up the sail, it was sealed in the hatch there, so Dan had to run and fix it. Right now, we're pulling into shore. We're at 15 feet of depth. As I said, my actual draft is like 3.5, 4 feet under load, so I'd call it 4 feet now. Pretty shallow, and it's dark coming in, but we were told to look for like an elm tree or oak tree on a point, and I'm going to show you that right here. That's what we skirt around this point, and then we're into our anchorage. Just kind of follow a narrow path in the middle, and it's about 4 meters steep all around, so I can anchor off anywhere once I'm in there. The idea here is to stay tight on this point. This apparently is 4 meters deep all around it, and it gets shallow if you go too far forward. We are at 8.5 feet, 9 feet. Pretty sketchy, but let's hope we do this right. Make it into the bay safely. Wow, so it was getting kind of shallow, and then I pointed into the rock, which is counterintuitive, but I pointed into the rock and my depth sounder gave me another 4 feet. I was looking at 7 feet of water. We follow this tight. Crazy, eh?
The wind is so perfect.
You don't know the depth, so if I go slightly to the side, it's 7 feet deep. Right here, tight in the shore, is 12 feet. It's exactly 4 meters. I feel a little better since we're maintaining 12 feet of depth. It's 12.5 actually, 13 feet right now. I'm just skirting around the edge of that point. And that was that was crazy. We're trusting what people said on Navionics, trusting what the Navionics depth was saying, as well as my depth finder, and to stay pretty much 10 feet off of that point is your deepest section. If you go any further out, you're getting into 7, 6, 5, and probably you'd run aground really fast just staying what you would think would be in a better area for depth, but it's definitely not. So I'm at 14 feet right now. We're officially in the bay, so we made it. It is dark. Not ideal timing, but we made it. So this is our anchorage area. Gonna head to the far southwest. Yeah, far southwest end of it. It's about 220 degrees straight ahead. Get in there because that is exactly where the wind is coming. And I think if we tuck up fairly close to the shore, we'll lose a lot of that wind and be good. Because tomorrow I think we have the same wind direction.
The moon right now is gorgeous. Yeah, you can't see it through the screen, but I've got this nice screen set up. It's working pretty good. There's a few bugs that made it in before I got it set up, but it's quite nice to have actually, because then we can keep the main door open here, have our lights on and be cozy.
Just getting settled in. Dan's already got his bed made. The nice thing about that kind of aft berth is that's on the starboard side. It slides out. So it's actually pretty wide, eh? It's like a normal single bed, what you're on.
Yeah.
It's pretty comfy. So, pretty nice. Got the lights at work as I tested them on my first night. I'm gonna get the jet boil going here and make us some soups. And then we'll probably get an early sleep since we're gonna wanna wake up early-ish, or as early as possible in order to make it back, since it did take quite a while, probably about 2 hours of sailing or more than that to make it out. And I'll keep my eye on the winds, but it's been a bit of a iffy last 20 minutes as the anchor settled in. There was a minute there where I thought we were drifting, but we've kept this one tree off to our right. It's just on the horizon and it's got enough light that we can keep seeing it even at night here. And as long as it stays there, I know we're not dragging. Definitely doesn't feel like it. The wind has pretty much died, and there's no rocking whatsoever, so it's quite a peaceful anchorage actually. So I'm gonna get the jet boil up and running,
Start boiling some water and get us some soups.
I'm really just blown away by this whole experience. To be sitting here at anchor, somewhere I've never been, never thought I'd be. AWEIGH Island in the middle of Georgian Bay. It's pretty surreal, really. As we watched that moon rise, it was orange when it was coming over the horizon to start, and as it got higher and higher, it turned clearer and clearer, and then I'm sitting out here by a lantern light. It's a fake lantern, of course. It's LED light, but that makes it a lot better because it's a lot less dangerous than a real lantern. Cooking with our jet boil. I really didn't bring that much. I mean, I brought a lot of freeze-dried meals, but I'm trying to eat semi-low carb. And those are very high carb, so I brought those as like a backup, or for Dan, or for breakfast or something if we're really hungry. And then I brought udon. It's like udon soup. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that or not. And then some miso soup, of all things, because they're just all these tiny packets that we had. Short of doing like Mr. Noodle ramens and all that, for our first run, I figured just with the jet boil, we have a jet boil stove, which I'll take out next time. Then we can cook some steak and some other nicer meals. But these udons and things are actually pretty like nice, high quality, organic soups, and they're very tasty. Speaking of which, water looks like it's starting to boil. Sounds like it. I'll grab our bowls, prep the soups, and make our meals. But I might come out here and read a book in a minute. It's just too pristine. I mean, look at that moon. It really is something else out here. Not shabby out, eh?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Look at that moon. That tree
Over there is kind of interesting.
the one we used to guide ourselves in here.
Big oak or elm.
Yeah, but it's just in the middle of nowhere. It's just placed out by itself on a rock pinnacle.
And it's probably the only deciduous tree out here.
Looks like it.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
It's super nice. It's a really cool feeling to just be floating in the lake, trusting an anchor to hold you in place. But to be in a sheltered little inlet like this is pretty cool, eh? This is the perfect spot to have a first night out. Because, you know, as I was looking for anchorages, there was a lot. I mean, the North Bay and North Channel is quite renowned for good spots to park. A lot of them require a decent amount of motoring into a nice spot. Once you're in there, it's beautiful and protected and really, really nice for both sailors and then definitely for power boaters. I mean, you can just cruise your way in there easily. But this one was cool to me and presented itself with a bit more of a challenge to get to it because of where it's at. It's more just straight out from Killarney, like from where my boat is at harbor. It's quite literally straight out into the open water. And that seemed like the cool thing to do, kind of the more adventurous thing to go try. And it really did turn out to be that way, you know, with the higher winds than expected, the larger waves, the time it took to get here. You know, we lollygagged on the island and wasted a good 45 minutes that would have been useful to get in here during, you know, higher light time before the sun was fully set. But all that
Kind of made it interesting.
Yeah, all that to be said is what I was about to say is really added to the adventure, made it quite fun. Both me and Dan had some struggles right at the end there too, trying to furl up the jib. My furler is kind of bent out of shape a little, so it makes it fairly difficult to do. Once you go up to it, I mean, she rolls up easy, eh? Like when your hands are actually on the thing, it just rolls up. Like you barely have to turn it. But all this way, it might be the way that it's rigged all the way through here, but it's not the easiest thing to furl up. So when you're in high winds like that, it was hard. And then to compound the errors, I mean, what happened, Dan? Like it was the jib line got caught in something, or we closed the port hatch?
We closed the hatch on the front of the boat on the wire, so then when we went to roll it up, it got hooked and had to crawl out and unhook it.
And I mean, once that was cleared, we were good to go, but it was just the spot we were in. We still had those, like, I mean, we're saying 5 or 4 foot waves, but who knows what the actual height is, but they're quite large waves. Large waves for this lake, and compared to what I'm used to sailing on. So when you start getting broadsided by those, it's crazy.
It was splashing over.
Yeah, it was splashing over the sides. It was rocking us. With Dan running up front, it was just a scary feeling, and especially as the light was fading, we were so close to shore, so close to our final destination, but also that in itself meant we were really close to shoals and rocks and, you know, possibly smashing on land or something. So it got exciting and a little hairy there, but we cleared the problem, furled up the sail, motored our way in, and found a sublime spot to spend our first night out on the sailboat. So I'm going to finish up dinner here. Thankfully, we have all this cooking and camping stuff from our trips on the motorcycles and in the Jeeps and truck. It's all lightweight, easy to clean, and with Georgian Bay being fresh water, it's quite easy to clean. You just rinse out your dish in the lake. No soap or anything required for a one-day trip. I'll take it back with me. And we'll get a good night's sleep tonight to wake up early tomorrow.